So this is before you, with the heavy metal detox, maybe you would blitz this, but I like to have this lot for breakfast. So underneath I've put oats, which is not part of the ingredients. But I like to have this every day anyway for my breakfast. So your orange, or you can use orange juices. I just use fresh oranges. Mango, I use frozen, and blueberries. Then wild blueberry powder, so different, not cultivated blueberries, they're wild blueberries, so they've got different properties. Spirulina. The thing that's missing here is the barley grass juice powder that I'm out of at the moment. And the other two things I've got my ester C, so high vitamin C, and the magnesium B12. They're the memory from Vimergy that I've got. Bananas, Atlantic juice. I haven't got the drops, I've got the actual thing, so you need a lot more than that. That's probably not enough of the portion. Coriander, fresh coriander. What else is there? We've got blueberries, orange, mango, coriander, banana, Atlantic juice, spirulina. Missing the barley grass juice powder, not barley grass powder. There is a difference. And I've added obviously the oats, the memory, and the ester C. So I now will add some water and mix it all up. Everyone's like, "You eating this green slush?" I'm like, "Oh, it's like heaven. It's like manna," and knowing what it would do for you. I know my healthy habits coach is like, "Well, there's no protein as well, so a lot of sugars," but this is my fave thing to have in the mornings. And actually when I have it, I don't feel spikes. I feel better if I'm just eating fruit and veggies, which is basically the majority of my diet, and occasional nuts and seeds as well. I feel fine. It's when I eat the processed junk, which unfortunately, like everyone, I like as well, but it is about making better choices. And so like after one, I've got protein, pea protein is the other one to add. I'm out of that at the moment, that you could add in there so that it's got protein in it. Obviously if you're not doing the fat-free protocols or on the medical medium to clear out your liver, so the reason we do that is before 12, the moment you start with the fat, so be it avocado or your bacon, like a good fat or a bad fat, and they are not all created equally, but even any fat, the liver changes what it does. So when you're fasting through the night, this doesn't affect. So as far as your body's concerned, you can eat all this and you're still fasting. It's not going to affect how in fact it helps, because these are all things that lock on to the stuff that it's kicking out and take it out the body. And it's, if you watch Medical Medium, the way he explains it, like the celery juice that I've drank this morning and the lemon water prior to that, that's flushing out stuff, just pushing anything that I've come into contact. If I've gone to a public toilet and opened the bathroom and I've got some germs or whatever, if you've been shopping, we were doing the teddy bears yesterday, so I'm like, "Oh, what's on these teddies? They've got to be washed." All of those things you come into contact, it would flushes it through anything. So my immune system's actually really good. And then these guys, they work together. That's why you need, so this won't work as well because it's obviously not got the barley juice powder, but one will gather up, the other one will then come along and take the rest of it, and they take it and trap it and take it out the body. So one helps flush it, and then the others kind of get rid of it. And that, when I'm saying it, what do I mean by it? Things like the fine particles of metals. If you've got tinned food, they're all really tiny particles that are minute, that are so minute that science can't pick them up on some screen. They build up over time and then they create problems, so which we know about. So this is why in the past it wasn't an issue, because it's our modern, over the last 100 years, maybe even longer, things that have been passed down through certain practices that have got stuck in the body, hereditary as well, can be passed on. They're so tiny. So these guys, though, they come along and they mop them up and they kick them out, because what happens, and this is the energy bit that comes from me. Hang on, can I switch this around? Twist this around, I think you see me. So my guidance has been telling me for the last, when did it start? Before lockdown. That the bridge of the hippocampus, which is the right and left brain hemispheres, this is a bit in the middle, there's these tiny little particle crystals in the brain. And they found this, I was looking this up because obviously I wanted to know what I was being told. So those crystals are reacting to the light that's in the air, the plasmic light that's coming from the sun, especially where we are, where the Earth is in this part of the galaxy. So everything moves, all the planets move, and every, I think it's how many, 26,000 years or whatever, we're at this point. So the last time there was a golden age basically was when we were here. And it's because this light affects the particles in the brain and it creates like a jumping. It's like information going into crystals. So to take it off on another tangent, I remember my mate going on about, you've got rocks in your bra. He's going to know who he is if he watches this. And it makes me laugh. It was with the crystals. And I was trying to explain to him, think about your phone. You have crystal displays on your phone. You're like, oh, it's not the same thing, Tracer. But actually, the crystal display is because it holds the information. So we've known crystals hold information. We just don't marry them up, that there is a crystal in my hand and you're looking through the phone that I'm recording as a crystal. That crystal display. So there's different forms, but it's about how it can retain the information. And those information, how it can be shifted. So jumping, I know it's a bit of a leap. You think about how the body is electronics, and we know this for sure. HeartMath has got loads of research on this about how your brain, your thoughts don't actually come from your brain. They're a receptor for it. So they come from the field around it. So it's picked up. So that's how they know how people can have precognition. So they pick it comes in before it actually hits, and they've measured this, which is quite fascinating actually, of when they're showing things on the screen and it comes so many seconds before. So that's another whole other tangent. But why I say that is because information and the electricity and crystals is all related to what they were trying to explain to me. Now I've called this the goblet effect. What my guidance keeps on about this goblet effect is these tiny crystal particles that are in the brain. I was listening to the medical meeting, was talking about how that gets disrupted with the tiny metal things get hot, and it's to do with the light, and then obviously that causes problems, things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. And I was looking into that because my dad's got Parkinson's. So he's, oh no, it's all mumbo jumbo, it's pseudoscience. But there's a lot of actual science that we assume is pseudoscience that's been proven right. And a lot of the medical media and information that they were saying pseudoscience 30 years ago is now right. And he's actually says to people haven't got time to wait 30 years for science to catch up. So channeled information, you've got to learn to discern it. Even what I'm saying, this comes from me, from my guidance. I listen to, say, him, for example, and my resonance with what he's saying is like, this rings true for me. This, whether you want to think of it as a permission slip to get it out of the body, this is information that's relevant. This is what people need to know because this can save lives. This can help people. Anyway, and that's why he gets so passionate about what he does. And I get passionate thinking about it. So what they told me is these crystals react to the light, and I've called it the goblet effect because I'd seen this archaeological program and they had this goblet. It was a Roman goblet that fine particles of silver and gold were within this glass goblet, ornate goblet, unique, one of a kind, and it changes colour depending on how the light hits it. And they were saying that's how it works. And I was like, This is how these tiny fine crystal particles in the brain, as the light is hitting them, so as we are in this part of space, and it's got nothing to do with being in the sunlight. Yes, you can get your vitamin D, and you need the vitamin D, so you don't want anything between, etc., etc. But no one could put anything in the skies to stop it from happening, because it happens because of where we are in space. It penetrates everything. It's light, but it's liquid plasmic light, and it penetrates every cell, everything. But it hits these crystals in the brain, and it allows higher states of consciousness. It allows perception from different levels of the being. So between 60 to 600 years is what my guidance says, the whole of humanity, within 600 years, the whole of humanity will be able, and will all connect and be able to channel. It's part of our evolution. Some people are already there because they're open to that. Others aren't, but everyone's on a different journey, and that's fine. It's just that's what's happening, because I was asking, and they're saying, and it's to do with right and left brain hemispheres, so the balance and the hippocampus, and it goes on, and then it goes more in deep, and then with how that affects the energy, the different qualities of energy around you that your emotions emit, and this goes into the information that we look at for frequency, resonance, and manifesting, and all that, and it covers all of that vibration, and how they vibrate as to how they work. So things like this, I was always told, for me, and this is my choice, and this was what's right for me. I'm not saying this is for you. I'm saying this is what's right for me. And they said, you need to eat the light. So part of the light language as it flows through me, it's because I eat of the light. I've not got as dense, my body isn't as dense then, because it's not got the energy of the animal within me, and that negative. So everything is energy. So whatever you put into your mouth, you've got to consider how it was killed, the life it had. The energy of that retains slightly in everything: the fruit, the veggies, and the meat, and the fish. So fish, a great example. If they've got all of those metals, tuna, we know that there's lots of heavy metals and stuff, that retains in there. Now, it's wonderful that nature is coming up with purification and manifesting to deal with stuff. But these particles that we're on about are not visible. None of our technologies can pick them up. So you can't, unfortunately, and that's, you might say that's easy for you. Oh, okay, that makes it nice and simple, that you can't prove it. Yeah, you can't prove it until maybe they'll come up with some science to prove it, because it's so small. But it's still there, and it's still affecting us. So it's about clearing that, and that interferes. It gets so hot, and it kind of goes together, and they don't understand the relationship to what it's doing and how it's affecting people. They are assuming it's other things. They're missing sort of links in between. They haven't quite put that together in our modern scientific world. There's lots of information out there that's really helpful, and I've no doubt that it will catch up. However, so I've asked about it, and I was like, what, really? 60 years? You are kidding me. When that information came through, that was around the time we had this special alignment called the Bethlehem Star. That information came through about the 60 to 600 years, because it depends on when we're ready. And we are the ones that are pushing that. We're the ones that are allowing ourselves to open to that, or closing off to that, or saying it's rubbish, or like, it's depending on when you're coming from and where you are, as to how long it takes for that to be the whole of the collective. But it's already, majority of people that are on this journey, and if you're watching this, I'm sure this is you, are already opening up to that. So it's a choice, and it's about the heart field and love, and that's the frequency bit, the vibration, and this is how the technology of the body, the organic. So you might say, why eat that? Why kind of you're going to manifest that. If you're coming from the point of Abraham Hicks, you're like, if you believe it, if you've got that belief, then that's going to, your brain will find the reality for that to be a truth. We know that is a science. Yes, but this is what came through from channeled information. However, I am open and receptive to it being a permission slip. And even if you take it as that, eating all these wonderful things and thinking that my body is cleared all the time, that was cats, then that can't be a bad thing. Aligning with stuff that resonates with me, it resonates with me, it makes me feel good. At the end of the day, isn't that what matters? So I'm going to eat this now because I've waited 15 minutes and chit-chatted for 15 minutes. But yeah, I highly recommend it and trying it. Obviously, you don't necessarily need the oats. If you're doing it properly, you would want this plus the barley juice powder, not barley powder. Okay, so have a fantastic day, and I just thought I'd share that.